Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm going to be doing a short video on some of the things I've been studying this week, some things I found very interesting. I really enjoy looking at documentaries and other videos. I'm not always looking at it in terms of, say, the video that I'm going to show now, which is an investment video. I'm not always looking at it in terms of investment, but how I pattern it with the way I'm working and my thoughts on psychology and how to get the best out of people. So you may do this yourself. Is you have all your thoughts and experiences about working, say, a certain skill set, and then I like to listen to people and both listen to things that confirm my bias, like, oh yeah, I agree with that, and then also listen to people that I don't necessarily fit my way of looking at things, but looking at that and being as unbiased as I can be to see whether I'm making like a mistake or not seeing things fully. So I watch things sometimes I don't want to watch. There's some dickhead, but there might be something there that is useful. So this was interesting for me in terms of, so this is a paid membership I'm a part of. Is Real Vision, really good website, and this guy Raul, he interviews top people in their fields, and I find that fascinating, one, because they're top people in their field and they have a certain way of looking at things, and I'm absorbing that their mental frameworks, so that's one of the reasons why I pay for that. It's a great investment. And also, again, looking at how things pattern, and this particular gentleman, he's got a lot of electrical engineering background and investing, and he was talking about Bitcoin. I find Bitcoin really fascinating, something over the last 2-3 years I've studied, put hundreds of hours into studying, because I think it's an amazing invention and I wanted to understand it better, and I invested in it. I think it's amazing. And this guy, when he talks about Bitcoin, it's interesting because it's how I perceive how I work with people, and how you can work with yourself. Is the nature of things always having an underpinning 1 or 0 code underneath them. So your career, your purpose, your fitness, your relationships, underneath everything there's always a strong or weak energy, and this ties in with the Taoist principle of strong or weak, strong, weak, dark, light, the opposites in the mind. And the Tao Te Ching, they're always talking about neutrality or the middle way, and that comes from going beyond the mind or no mind. So when I'm coaching someone, it's always about looking beyond the mind and going no mind, and balancing out these glitches. And he actually, I'm just going to play this now, he actually talks about that quite nicely.
My framework is going to be based on things that I saw happen before. So to me, it's a little bit like I would look at Bitcoin as sort of kind of like DOS, or BASIC, meaning an older programming language that is, or actually not even that. There's something called assembly language, which is when you have like a microprocessor in your computer, it's not looking at a bunch of words. You're programming that in a series of ones and zeros. And so it's very granular and very precise, and you can see everything that's going wrong if it goes wrong. And if it glitches, it's going to glitch and just stop. So Bitcoin is kind of at that layer where the programming of Bitcoin is so granular that you can see everything. And there's not a lot of people that like to do it because it's tedious. And so
let me just bring myself back up. Yeah, so he's talking about the Bitcoin being really solid, fundamental, the lowest possible level underneath everything, and it's so granular, you can see everything. I was like, shit, that's how I work. So there is, the reason why I'm explaining this is because if you're listening still, you have this inside you. And if you're interested in high performance or getting the most out of yourself or living life as fully as possible, you need to work in that level. And you can come at it different levels. Like there's beliefs, and there's a layer of beliefs, and sometimes you need to come in and work on the beliefs with the mind. But underneath that is this very granular level of strong or weak energy, a binary code. And so that's kind of why I like Bitcoin. And when I'm listening, I'm like, shit, that's just like the way I work, and you can see everything. And that level you can access in yourself. That's why I'm doing these videos. I know this. I could. It's kind of cool to be able to say it out loud, but I could say it in the mirror. But for me, I want to get other people connecting with this level, and it's amazing what you can achieve here, both with your mind, your emotions, your thinking is very, very quick, manifesting things and making things work for you, or you can work on your physical body or other people's physical body, because this level is underneath everything and it's decentralized, so you can connect to other people's computers and see everything in the ones and zeros. You can't you're just picking up on ones and zeros energy in anyone that you want to connect with. So that was a cool little video. Then I was watching to change the tune a little bit. This is Jorge Masvidal, who's an MMA fighter, and someone, I think, his really interesting background. He was, pretty tough street fighter, has been through a lot, and he's very intelligent. I like his mindset, his performance, and his ability to understand himself is extremely high, which is a wonderful skill set. And in this clip, he talks about spending time on his own in the jungle. At one point, he did like a reality TV show, and other people were suffering, and he found he'll explain, he could hear himself finally. Let me just play this.
And mentally, I was fine.
Yeah, 1 second.
Over there, I was like chilling, man. A lot of people were suffering. I'm used to cutting weight. I'm used to maybe seeming somewhat uncomfortable. So I had a blast over there. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I got to spend a lot of alone time, which was the best thing about the show. And that was probably like my favorite thing, because I could just get lost, go to the jungle. Not everybody was into 5-hour hikes. And since I have a tremendous amount of energy and we really didn't have much to do, I would go on like 4 or 5-hour hikes every day. Or just get lost. No phone, no nothing, just chilling. And in that process, I got to hear that voice inside of me a little bit better. So I thank God for that opportunity, allowing that to line up.
So that really struck me. This guy's a professional MMA fighter, one of the best in the world, in a sport that's extremely tough and brutal, like physically, but also mentally. The pressure is unbelievable. To be able to step in the octagon and have some guy try and rip your head off, and everything that goes with it. Then it was just really interesting that he realized the importance of having alone time. And for me, that's something I try and do with all my clients, is get them to spend more time, just be with no distractions. So a bit of like detoxing, I think, is where you have no phone or anything, meditate, you go for a walk, or you do yoga. And what you're doing is, when you're quiet, your voice comes up. Now, there's your mind constantly chattering, but if you look at your mind and see all the mental chatter, that monkey that's blah, 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 then when you separate that and you're quiet, then the real voice comes up, whoever that is, and creativity can come through. And you can't control that. It sometimes comes in, you're having a shower, you're doing something, and then suddenly you go, oh, what a great idea. That's not your mind. So that was just a really cool, it's a good documentary as well. Diary of a Street Fighter, I found that interesting. See, if you're working in high performance, you can see other people in his background, and how, what high performance looks like when you're working with an athlete. I've done that for many years, and I could relate to, sometimes it's just being there, not saying anything, and just supporting. Other times you challenge. So it was just really interesting. And the final video I want to share with you was two soccer players who who've retired now in the UK, Gary Neville and Roy Keane. Roy Keane was known as the hard man, very aggressive, and he's almost become like, everyone laughs when he speaks because he's known as the no shit person. He doesn't take shit. He holds grudges. He's very angry. And I watched this, and at the same time I've been doing a lot of work on my beliefs around anger, because it was something I've suppressed all my life. I've always thought it's not good, but there's unhealthy anger, and therefore there has to be healthy anger. And healthy anger is creative. It'll enable you to defend yourself, protect yourself, not let people walk over you, have boundaries. So it's this understanding that there's nothing as bad or good. It's just sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you just need to have both sides in you. I saw this video, and then I realized that everyone likes him because he stands up for himself. When in everyone's shadow, they want to be able to do that as well. So this point you'll see, and just on this, it's interesting. I watched this video. It was a long video, but I found it really fascinating. Not so much I don't really give a shit about the soccer stuff, but the psychology. And then I was working with one of my high performance, kind of billionaire type client, and we were having a call on the balcony the other night, and he mentioned this podcast, and I just watched it a couple of days before, so had he. So that for me it was almost too much of a coincidence. And then we were talking about anger, and he was like, oh, that's really interesting, and I was just explaining to him about certain situations that there's justified anger, and we talked deeply about that, but the podcast enabled us to relate to it. And it's so, some people would say that's coincidence. I think if you're really connected with your intuition, and you're quiet, and you're picking up on your own answers, you'll know what to watch, and then you're drawing in people who have the similar energy. It sounds a bit woo-woo, but for me it's just something that I keep seeing again and again. And so this is a video.
The clock's against us. So just literally one last question on it, really. When you're in the office and you've just watched the video, and the stuff you're referencing, Roy talks about it in his book, what he said to Kieraz, I won't repeat it here. You a bit of a go at Ferguson. Does any part of you, when you're in that zone where stuff's coming out, think, I am crossing the line here?
No, you gotta relax yourself here a second. Because same with Saipan, people say, oh, could you handle it differently?
Yeah.
Could you stood back? What, let people walk all over you? The key is, when I watch this video, whatever about was said afterwards, listen, I'm sure you'll go into it later, same with Saipan, people making accusations against you, and you're sitting there going, what do you want to say? Going, that's fine, you're going to fight, you have to fight your corner, you have to defend yourself. And again, the key for me is, whatever the video on Gary said, it was intense. We had a lot of heated discussions over the years, sometimes as a team, but you got to roll with that. That's grown men. We're fighting for the same things. There is going to be a bit of argy-bargy. I'm sure there's people here working in industries where things get heated. I didn't leave the office that day and thinking, that's the end of my career at Manchester United. I didn't think so.
Okay.
Listen, I didn't think it was all great. Let's go for a bite to eat tonight. But I'm thinking, this is all. And sometimes I think when you have these debates or heated arguments, I think it's good. I think it's good because you're all looking for the same things. You're all hungry. You want the same thing. No problem. But if you think I'm going to sit there, I don't care if it's Alex Ferguson or the Pope, and they start saying, yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, I'm going to fight my corner. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. But then,
because I tell you, if I sat there and said that, and I get to the players would be going, hey, what's up with him? Just like a few months earlier when Carlos Queiroz threw the bib at me when you just stand up front.
Okay.
I had to take that and go, all right, listen, sometimes the coaches are upset with something. I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
But when they treat you with such disrespect, and then put statements in front of you and say, all right, thanks for 11.5 years.
Okay, so I could carry on watching that. I hope I don't get into trouble, copyright or anything. So what was interesting there is there were a number of things that came up. Is one, he has those balls, like, I don't let people walk over me, and people admire that because it's something, especially I think in the UK, there's a culture of being not speaking up. Maybe in America, you speak up more. In restaurants, you go, this is shit food. In England, you'd eat it. France has different culture, Germany. But then he said disrespect, and that's his trigger. He doesn't like to be disrespected. And so, there's good, and there's going to be an opposite. There's something there that he's had a history of fallouts around things to do with disrespect. And I remember there was he was a fantastic player, and there was a player tackled him very badly and injured him. And what happened was, maybe they had a bit of an argy-bargy thing beforehand, but the player stood over him when he was injured and said something disrespectful, disrespected him, when he was on the ground. And he remembered that, and while he was rehabbing, he came back, and the game where he played him, he tackled him. It's one of the worst tackles I've ever seen. He went to break his leg, and he did. I think he snapped his knee, finished the guy's career, and then in his book said, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to finish him. So, that's unhealthy when you're so, you're holding on to, the anger is going to chew you up. And so that's his issue. But he also has something to teach us in that, standing up for yourself, your boundaries, expressing yourself when other people are saying things that are unjustified. So I found that very interesting. It's something I'm kind of working on at the moment, to be honest, is, when to, not to go to 0 to 100 and fight, but grade my anger. And something I find a little tricky, but we're all here to resolve things, right? So those are just some of the things I found really interesting. I'm telling you about them. I hope you find those interesting. If you do, let me know. Any comments underneath, that'd be great. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love a like. It really helps me. And so definitely subscribe to my channel. I keep bringing these out. Have a great rest of the day, and talk to you all soon. Take care.